It had rained steadily for 10 hours during the night, and only in the past hour had the rain stopped. Now I'm looking at very fresh deer tracks, and from the behavior of these deer, I can tell that they're walking up the road and feeding on blackberry along the edge of the road. Because of how fresh the tracks are and the behavior, I expect to find the deer very close ahead of me. Sure enough, I spotted the deer up the road before they saw me. They were feeding with the doe on one side and the fawn on the other. I used the sound of the creek and the bushes to approach as close as I could, which was about 35 or 40 yards away. But I knew the situation wasn't going to last very long because of a light breeze on the back of my neck blowing towards the animals. And it didn't take long for the doe to smell me. Here her body language changes, and she walks down the road to investigate. Her change in behavior alerts the fawn that something is up, and the fawn comes over to investigate as well. The deer cannot see me, but they can smell me, and become nervous and eventually flee. Now we're looking at the tracks of an elk, a similar situation where it rained hard during the night, and you can see all the mud that's transferred to the plants would have been washed away if the rain had landed on these tracks. These are very fresh. And now we'll look and identify the sex of the elk. The front track is measured, and that width is compared against the width of the hind track. A much greater width indicates a male elk. Qualitatively looking at the track, notice the nail on the outside of the hoof and how round the front track is beginning to look. This is an indication that we're looking at a bull elk. Bill Johnston is following the tracks. It's clear that they're very fresh from how disturbed the water and the tracks still are. As we follow the trail, we notice behavior. You can see up ahead in the distance that Phil is approaching a rub from the animal. This is where the bull elk is scent marking and rubbing glands on its forehead against the tree. It was shortly after this that we came around the corner and looked in the clear cut ahead and saw the elk staring at us. The elk was already looking in our direction and had likely either heard or seen movement through the trees. We watched him for a few minutes until he turned and walked away up ahead into the regenerating brush.